Toy Story 2 is a rare sequel. Not only is it just as good as the third film, but it exceeds it in terms of quality and storytelling. I'm Tommy Bowyer from Move Rewind, and without further ado, let's get into it. Toy Story 2 was released in 1999. It was directed by John Lasseter, and originally it was supposed to be a direct-to-video sequel. However, once Disney found out that actually Toy Story 2 looked quite promising, they decided to have it as a theoretical release. Now, there's actually an interesting story about Toy Story 2, which I think is something to admire. The first draft was very poor, so John Lasseter and PIXAR decided to rewrite the entire plot of the film in one weekend. So Toy Story 2 was actually fully produced over 9 months, and when you consider it usually takes a couple of years for Pixar to produce and create a film, this took 9 months. And the fact that it's such a strong quality when they had such a short space of time to do it just highlights how good Pixar were when they first got going. In my opinion, Toy Story 2 is the best Toy Story film. It's one of my favourite films from when I was a kid, and personally I still think it lives up today. So let's have a look at some of the qualities which make this film so great. The film really does build on the foundations of the first film when it comes into the characters. This film primarily focuses on Woody, which I think is a good idea because the first film focused a lot more on Buzz Lightyear. Now, Buzz is still quite a prominent character in this film, but he's not really the centre of it. It's Woody. You learn more about his backstory, where he comes from, and you also understand exactly why he's feeling conflicted. He is damaged by Andy, and Andy leaves him behind when he goes to cowboy camp. So Woody feels that it's not going to last. Sooner or later, Andy is going to grow up and tire of him, and he's just gonna be left in the garbage. So it's really interesting when you see him going through this conflict when he has a chance to be admired at a museum with his collection. It's a really good thing, and I think it was strong what they did with the character in this film. Buzz Lightyear, as I said, is not as prominent. I like what they do with him because they have him going to rescue Woody. It's actually a good role reversal from the first film. Buzz Lightyear is the one trying to persuade Woody that being a toy is good and you must be there for Andy, and that's the most important thing in a toy's life. So I like what they did there. It's a good role reversal. Honestly, the villain in this film is Stinky Pete. He is amazing. He's one of the strongest Toy Story villains because you completely understand where he's coming from. He has been alone for decades and he just wants some attention. He just wants people to look at him, and he doesn't want that to go wrong. So he's prepared to do anything to make sure that Woody is present in that museum. So I really enjoyed him. In terms of the other characters which appear in this film, Mr. Potato Head, Rex, Slinky, Ham, they're all fantastic. I like that they go out with Buzz Lightyear to try and rescue Woody. There's some great comedic moments having them there. They're more involved in this film than they were in the first film. And in terms of the new characters, Jessie is fantastic. She's a great character, and it's not just a helpless female character. She actually gets involved and is crucial for the plot. So I think that works really well. And Bullseye's amazing as well. Even though he doesn't have any words said whatsoever, I think he's brilliant. So overall, I would give the character development a 10 out of 10 because it builds on the characters who are in the first film, so you learn more about them, especially Woody, and the new characters that are introduced are just great. The performances, they're just amazing, let's be honest. All those who returned from the first film are still so well cast, and they're just amazing in this film. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, they're amazing as Woody and Buzz Lightyear. In terms of the new additions to the cast, they're so welcomed because they're amazing. Joan Cusack as Jessie is amazing. Honestly, she has such a great range. 1 minute she could be all laughy and jumpy as Jessie, and the next when she's talking about her owner who gave her away, so much emotion and heartbreak in her performance. It's just amazing. At some points you are on the verge of crying. She has a really talented performance. And of course, Kelsey Grammer as Stinky Pete. He portrayed Sideshow Bob in The Simpsons, so he knows how to handle a villain. And he's amazing. Such a talented voice actor who has a great range during this, and he's amazing as Stinky Pete. Honestly, out of all the actors in this film, I would say Kelsey Grammer is the standout for me personally. So overall, I would give the performances a 10 out of 10 because all the actors who returned from the first film are still just so well cast and the new additions are welcomed. The effects are very strong, just like the first film. To be honest, I would say that the main positive about the effects in this film is because the film was made in such a short space of time. As I said previously, 9 months to create this film and put it together. And that just has so much praise for Pixar Animation Studios to the fact that they were able to have the animation look this good in that short space of time. It just highlights how good Pixar Animation Studios are. They're one of the pioneers, and it really shows with Toy Story 2. They didn't fudge it in any way. They put all of their effort into it. So in terms of the effects, I would give it a 10 out of 10 because honestly, it's Pixar Animation. I don't think anyone on the planet can really fault them because they put all their effort into their animation and it pays off. Toy Story 2 has a fantastic story which builds on the foundations of the first film really well. Honestly, the pacing in this film is amazing. It flies by. And I think that's because it has the perfect mixture of comedic moments and emotional moments, and they gel together really well. Honestly, one of the best scenes in this film is when Somebody Loved Me, when Jessie is discussing with Woody how her owner just dumped her and that's why she doesn't trust humans anymore. They don't even use dialogue. It's just told through visuals and the song in the background, and it's perfect. It really does highlight that sometimes you can just have visuals with songs and no dialogue, and your audience will completely understand a character's point of view. So that's done very well. The fact that Woody is with this collector and they're flying out to Japan adds some stakes, some tension to the film. You want Buzz Lightyear and the rest of Andy's toys to get there in time. And there are some amazing comedic moments between Buzz Lightyear and Andy's toys when they are heading off to try and rescue Woody. And some of the scenes in this film are so memorable even to this day. The opening Buzz Lightyear video game, the scene in which Buzz and the rest of Andy's toys have to hide under cones in order to cross a busy road, the fight scene between Buzz and Emperor Zurg on the elevator, the conveyor belt scene at the airport, so many memorable scenes which stick out. Honestly, they could have just rehashed the first film, but they don't in Toy Story 2. They offer something entirely different which has enough to resemble the first film. As I said, I like the role reversal between Woody and Buzz. That just seems natural because Woody was the one who taught Buzz how good being a toy was. So it just makes sense that in his hour of need, Buzz is the one who reminds Woody everything he taught him. So I think that's done very well. Overall, I would give the story and writing of this film a 10 out of 10. I could not fault it. I could not change it. And the thing is, it was written in just one weekend. That makes it so much better. So for this film's special recognition, I've got a couple of things to discuss about this film. Firstly, the score, composed by Randy Newman once again, is brilliant. There's some great themes in this. The Woody Roundup song is amazing. That's a really great theme, very catchy. So Randy Newman once again knocks it out of the park with the score for this film. And honestly, in more general terms, Toy Story 2 highlighted that Pixar were not just a one-shot wonder. I think after A Bug's Life was released, many were questioning whether Pixar would actually make anything as strong as Toy Story again. And Toy Story 2 highlighted that, yeah, they could. I think Toy Story 2 ushered in a generation of Pixar films which many will hold up as the films of their childhood. Toy Story 2 is probably one of my favourite Pixar films. I used to watch it quite regularly and I still do even to this day. I watched it today in preparation for this review and I can still pick out new things which I hadn't seen before, and that's great about a film when you can go back, rewatch it, and you can see new things which you didn't exactly see before. That's amazing with a film like this. And I think Toy Story 2 really teaches good morals. It highlights that sometimes you need to remember who you are and that you should stick by your friends in their hour of need. Important lessons to teach people. So I think Toy Story 2 does that very well. So honestly, I'll give this special recognition a 10 out of 10. Not only for the music score, which is amazing, but the fact that Toy Story 2 is an even better film than the original. So in conclusion, I think there is a good reason why Toy Story 2 has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Honestly, Toy Story 2 has great characters and a great story, which is well paced and offers exciting, memorable, comedic and emotional moments throughout. And that is why Toy Story 2 gets a very well-deserved 50 out of 50, which gives it a grade 1 ranking. Honestly, Toy Story 2 is not only one of the best Pixar films, it is one of the best animated films ever released. And I will stand by that until the day I die. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed my Toy Story 2 movie review. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. Now, the Toy Story 3 movie review will be out in 2 weeks' time, because coming up next week, I'm finally releasing my long-awaited Doctor Who Series 1 review. It is the start of my Doctor Who series, which by my maths, if I release every other month, it's going to take about 2 years to do. So it's one of the most ambitious series I've ever done on this channel, and I'm so looking forward to it. So I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in another one. See ya!